Shanti, SpARC audiobook, Avyakt stage, part 4. Avyakt Murli date 27/7/1970. In which form is Bap Dada seeing you today? What is Bap Dada seeing on the face of each of you? Can you tell? Baba is seeing to what extent each of you has become an Avyakt image, subtle image, an image that attracts, an alaukic image, non-worldly image, and an image of cheerfulness. All these four qualities can be seen on your face. The face of each of you indicates who has become this and to what extent. Just as you see your physical face in a mirror, in the same way, can you see these qualities in this mirror? What vision of yourself do you see in the mirror when you look at it? Out of four qualifications, which is the main qualification that you see in yourself? Each of you should have the practice of looking at yourself. The final stage has to be such that the face of each of you reveals all these qualities. At present, some qualities are incognito and others are visible. Some virtues are special and others are less than that. However, in the perfect stage, all these virtues will be seen to an equal extent in a visible form, through which all of you will be revealed number-wise. To the extent that someone develops virtues in a visible form, to that extent revelation also continues to takes place. So, what are the main powers you have to imbibe within yourself in order to become Avyakt? Only then will you be able to achieve the aim that you have kept for yourself. Baba is telling you which main powers you have to imbibe within yourself before you go from this bhakti. There are many powers, but the main powers needed are the power to tolerate, the power to discriminate, the power to condense expansion, and the power to create expansion. Sometimes you have to reduce expansion, and sometimes you have to create expansion. You also need the power to pack up, the power to accommodate, the power to face, and the power to make decisions. Together with these powers, you also need the power to make others loving and cooperative. That is, you also need the power to unite everyone. So you have to imbibe all of these powers. Only then will you be able to achieve all the qualifications. It is not even a question of whether is it possible. It has to happen. We definitely have to achieve this before we go. These are the words of those who have faith in the intellect. And for this, there is one special aspect. You have to imbibe spirituality, and together with that, there should also be godly intoxication. You have to imbibe both these things and let go of one thing. What is that? Someone said we have to renounce being bossy. Someone else said we have to renounce feeling inferior. That is good. Sometimes because you do not have faith in yourself, you are unable to be successful in some tasks. That is why Baba says you have to renounce feeling inferior. You also have to renounce being bossy. Secondly, you keep changing your form all the time. Sometimes you are one form and sometimes another form. Before you go, you have to renounce changing forms and imbibe from this bhakti a constantly Avyakt and alaukic form. Acha. Avyakt Murli date 18/1/1971. Are you having the experience that you have stabilized yourself in the Avyakt stage and are observing everything with the support of the Vyakt corporeal form? Just as you enter a physical place, in the same way do you experience yourself carrying out your task, having entered into the physical body? Do you have the experience that you enter it whenever you wish and become detached from it whenever you wish? Do you have the practice of adopting it in 1 second and shedding it in 1 second? Just as you can take other physical things when you want and leave them when you want, in the same way is the practice of shedding the awareness of this body and becoming soul conscious is just as easy. Have you become the creators who can take the support of the creation when you wish and leave the support of the creation when you wish? Have you become free from bondage to the extent that you become detached when you want and loving when you want? This body is also a bondage, and the body ties you in its bondage. If you become free from the bondage of the body, it will not create any bondages. However, you can take its support whenever you want, considering it to be a support for a particular task. Do you continue to have such a practice? How long does it take to renounce the consciousness of the body? That is, to become detached from it. Does it take 1 second? Does it always take? Or does it sometimes take a long time and sometimes less? Sometimes it takes less time and sometimes it takes more. This shows that you have not yet become free from all bondages. To the extent that you are free from bondages, accordingly you will remain yogyukt, and to the extent that you are yogyukt, accordingly you will claim a high status in the life of liberation. If you are not free from bondages, you are not yogyukt either. Would such a soul be called a master almighty authority? It is easy to finish attachment with the bodily relations and physical things, but it is a question of effort to become free from the consciousness of the body. What bondage still remains? Just this, to become free from the consciousness of the body. You now have to practice coming into the Avyakt stage when you wish with great force. You should consider it to be the same as when Baba is speaking, having taken the support like now. In the same way, we are performing action having taken support of the body. This day has been designated as the day of going beyond sound. So how can Bap Dada come into sound? The practice of staying beyond is absolutely essential. You serve souls whilst in sound, but when you do service in the stage of being beyond sound, you will be able to see greater instant results. When you give other souls the experience of the Avyakt stage in 1 second, through your remaining in the Avyakt stage, you will see that instant fruit in front of you. When you come into sound after having been stable in the stage beyond sound, that sound will not seem like sound, but the Avyakt vibrations in that sound will attract souls towards Baba. Even whilst listening to that sound, they will experience your Avyakt stage. In this corporeal world, they sing a lullaby to little children, that is sound, but it is a sound which is a method to take them beyond sound. In the same way, if you come into sound after being stable in the Avyakt stage, you will be able to give the experience of the stage beyond sound. 1 second's experience of the Avyakt stage can enable a soul to forge an eternal relationship. Such an unbreakable relationship will be forged that a soul with a experience of that will never even be shaken by Maya. The souls that become impressed simply through sound may come and go because they have heard many sounds. But the souls who have experienced sound emerging through an Avyakt stage will be freed from coming and going. Such a soul will not be influenced by anything. Always consider yourself to be combined and do service in the combined form. That is, be in the Avyakt stage and then come into sound. Service done through this combined form will create hires. By simply doing service through sound, subjects are created. Now put newness into service. What is the method of doing this type of service? At the time you are doing service, there is churning, but there is less attention to the stage of being lost in remembrance. There is a lot of attention to the other side. There is less attention paid to your Avyakt stage. This is why there is the effect of the D of Jnana. But the effect of being lost in love is less visible. As a result of this, they say that the Jnana is very elevated, but they do not have the courage to remain lost in remembrance. This is because they have not had the experience of love, that is, of forging a relationship through the Avyakt stage. But because they take a few grains, they become the subjects. Only if the relationship is forged now will they be able to come into a relationship in the future. Otherwise, they will be the subjects. This is the newness that has to be brought about, whereby through 1 second's Avyakt experience, you enable souls to forge a relationship. There is a difference between a relationship and connection. They come into a connection but not into relationship. Do you understand? On this day, have you experienced the Avyakt stage? If you continue to make this experience constant and stable, you will give this experience to others. Nowadays, words and many instruments impress souls in many different ways. However, no one can experience in the way that you people do, nor can anyone give the experience to others. This is why nowadays it is essential to give an experience. There is a hope in everyone. They have the desire to have an experience in a short time. They don't have the desire to listen. Be stable in an experience and give an experience. Don't simply celebrate this day as the day of remembrance, but celebrate this day as the day of increasing your power. Consider this day as the day of transformation of your stage. Nowadays, people like transparent things. In the same way, transform yourself into such a transparent stage. Have you understood the importance of this day? Become so transparent that the soul that is present in your body is clearly visible to everyone. Your form of the soul should give them a vision of their form of the soul. This is called the experience of the Avyakt stage, the stage of the soul. Avyakt Murli date 21/1/1971. Today, you have invited Baba for a meeting. This Avyakt meeting can only be celebrated if you stabilize yourself in the Avyakt stage. Are you able to understand this? Today, Baba is seeing to what extent everyone has become the embodiment of power, the images of all of you, the memorials of the Shaktis are shown number wise. How can the images of the Shaktis be discerned? Do you know? Do you know the image by which your powers are discerned? The memorials of the Shaktis are created in various ways, number wise. Have you forgotten your images? The memorials of the Shaktis are shown number wise in different forms and with many arms. Sometimes those images are shown with a certain number of arms. At other times they are shown with a different number of arms. Some are the Shaktis that have imbibed 8 powers. Some have imbibed more and some have imbibed less. Sometimes 4 arms are shown, sometimes 8, and at other times 16 are shown. They are shown number wise. Today Bap Dada is saying how many powers each one has imbibed. You call yourself Master Almighty Authorities, do you not? Master Almighty Authorities means those who have imbibed all the powers. Do you have a vision of your form of power? When Baba sees each one's form of power in the subtle region, what does he see? In the subtle region, Bap Dada has an Alaukik exhibition. How many images would it have? You can count the pictures here, but can Bap Dada's pictures be counted? Bap Dada is inviting you to come there. The one who has given an invitation gives it, but those who have to arrive must be able to reach there. Bap Dada is giving all of you an invitation with a millionfold great happiness. Each one can have an experience. If you were to experience the Avyakt stage consistently, you would experience that just as through science, something which is far away can be experienced as being near. In the same way, you would be able to see the activity of the subtle region here very clearly. With the power of the intellect, you can have a vision of your form of all powers. At the present time, because there isn't sufficient awareness of it, you are not able to be powerful. Finish the waste and then you will become powerful. Baba sees everyone's different forms of effort in the subtle region. They are very beautiful. All of you don't see your forms as much as Baba sees the many forms of all of you in the subtle region. You people can pay special attention one day and see how many forms and what forms were like throughout the day. You will laugh a lot when you see the different postures. Nowadays, you see many postures of others. So see yourself. Have a vision of your many forms. Everyone has the desire to come to the subtle region. But ask yourself, have you carried out all the tasks that you have to carry out as a Brahmin? Only when you have accomplished all the tasks will you become complete. The present time is such that you have to pay attention to every step you take. Because there isn't attention, you have the tension of effort. Therefore, add only one word, attention. Then the many forms will become the one complete form. Therefore, now pay attention to every step. You heard that nowadays all souls wish to experience happiness and peace. They do not wish to hear a lot. In order to give an experience to others, only when you yourselves become the embodiment of the experience Will you fulfill that desire in others? Day by day, you will see that just as those who are hungry for wealth come to beg for alms, in the same way, souls who are hungry for experience of peace will be desperate to receive alms. Now, when just one wave of sorrow comes, souls who are wallowing in this wave, souls who are drowning in this wave, search for the support of a straw. Many beggar souls will come in front of you to receive alms. So, do you experience yourself to be a soul who is overflowing with the experience of supersensuous joy and all powers in order to quench the thirst of supersensuous joy? Such thirsty, hungry, and desperate souls have you accumulated the treasure of all powers and the treasure of supersensuous joy, so that not only does your stage remain constant, but you fill other souls as well. You are the children of the bestower who fills the apron of everyone, are you not? This scene is going to come very soon. Avyakt Murli date 26/1/1971. Each of you individually has to make a special program for yourself. Just as you make a program for service, in the same way, you can make a program as to how much attention you paid to your pilgrimage of remembrance in between from morning till night. You should keep this diary. Make your plan of remembrance at Amrit Vela. For instance, when you remain busy in a physical task, in that too, let there be discipline of staying in remembrance for a short while. At that time, remind others for 2 to 3 minutes that it is now the time for you to remember Baba, and so they should also stay in remembrance. Just as traffic is stopped at fixed times, so that no matter how urgent something may be, even if a patient has to be taken to hospital, that will also wait. Similarly, make your timetable like this as much as possible, so that others will see that that is your time which is fixed for remembrance, and so they would also follow you. No matter what task it is, adjust it slightly and take out a few minutes for remembrance, and it will influence the atmosphere. Everyone will follow one another. The intellect will receive rest and be filled with power. The atmosphere will receive cooperation, and there will be uniqueness visible. Earlier you used to remind one another, Shiv Baba yaad hai. Are you remembering Shiv Baba? In the same way, when you see that someone is in physical consciousness a great deal, you should adopt such a peaceful form and not say anything to that person, so that he can understand just through a signal. Through this, the atmosphere will remain spiritual. The final stage of you children is that of granting visions. Whatever form you become in a practical way, that is the image of granting visions you will become. When all of you become images that grant visions, your sanskars will also become like that in a practical form. The more you change yourself, the more you will be able to successfully carry out the task of being in charge. You should take every step while considering yourself to be an instrument, because The vision of the souls of the entire world is on you souls, just as people have a vision through you of godly love, of elevated knowledge, and of elevated divine activities. In the same way, they should have just as clear a vision of the Avyakt stage. You should create such a plan that anyone can feel that you are an angel who is walking and just moving, just as you experienced the angelic stage in the Sakar form. Even while having such a huge responsibility, Baba continued to give you the experience of the subtle and the incorporeal stages. The final form of the stage of all of you should also be clearly visible, no matter how peaceless, restless, or frightened someone may be. The power from a second of your drishti, your attitude and consciousness should make him completely peaceful, no matter how much someone may be in a physical consciousness. He should experience the Avyakt stage as soon as he comes in front of you. Your drishti should work like rays. The result up to the present time is that you are successful in the task of giving the light of knowledge as master sons of knowledge, but you still have to perform the task of the destroying germs of the sanskars of each and every soul with the might of the race. You have passed in giving light, but the task of giving might still remains. Avyakt Murli date 11/3/1971. Has the practice of being in the Avyakt stage whilst being in the corporeal become easy? You have come to your home to this bhakti to increase the practice of being able to stabilize your intellect whenever you wish. So now you have to try to make the practice of a short time here permanent, just as you consider yourselves to be Avyakt angels whilst walking and moving around when you come to the bhakti or in Madhuban. In the same way, you should keep this practice when you on the field of action or whilst at your service station, whenever, wherever you happen to be. You can remember an experience you have had once anywhere. So by remembering the experiences you have had here and by stabilizing yourself in the same stage you have had here, the intellect will develop that habit, just as in Lokik life also, the habit pulls you towards itself against your conscious wish. In the same way, after you have developed the habit of stabilizing yourself in the Avyakt stage, this habit will automatically pull you towards itself. There are some souls who even whilst making such effort say, "This is my habit. Why do you have to have this weakness? Why did you become angry? Why do you become so sensitive?" They will say, "It is my habit." Even now, some children give this reply. So, in the same way, if you create this stage or develop the habit of this practice, then the habit of this Avyakt stage will pull you towards itself against your conscious wish. This habit will save you from going to court. Do you understand? Since you are able to adopt bad habits, are you not able to instill this habit? When you have done something in a practical way 2 to 4 times by putting that into a practical form, you develop that practice. You put this practice into a practical form in this bhakti in Madhuban. Do you not? Since you put it into practical form here and you develop that practice, then what should something that you have practiced become? It should become natural and part of your nature. Do you understand? Avyakt Murli date 9/4/1971. Do you like the stage of being beyond sound or the stage of staying in sound? Which stage do you love more? Can you have both these stages at the same time? Do you have the experience of that? What virtue can be practically seen when you have this experience? Being loving and detached. This stage is like the stage of the seed in which the whole tree is merged. In the same way, in this awake stage, you experience at that time all those special virtues which you speak about in the confluence age, because you are then a master seed and also knowledgeful. So, you do not just experience peace, but as well as peace, you also experience the main virtues of knowledge, supersensuous joy, love, bliss, power, etc. Not only do you experience those, but many other souls also experience all these virtues from the face of a soul who is stable in this stage. What did you experience through the corporeal form? You used to experience all the main virtues in the one moment, because all the virtues are merged in one main virtue. Just as in ignorance, all vices are deeply connected with one vice. In the same way, all the main virtues have a deep connection with one main virtue. If someone says that he is stable in the stage of an embodiment of knowledge, then, as well as being an embodiment of knowledge, many other virtues are also definitely merged in that stage. What would you call this stage in one expression? That of a master, almighty authority. All powers are imbibed through such a stage. So the creation of such a stage of knowledge is the stage of being equal and complete. Do you serve while stable in that stage? When you come onto the stage to do service, first of all stabilize yourself in this stage. Then come onto the physical stage. What will you experience through this? Even whilst being in a gathering, you will be seen as an alokik, unique soul. At present, together with having an ordinary form, your stage is also seen as ordinary. Om Shanti.